Good morning, I'm Elizabeth. I would like to thank you for the opportunity to speak today regarding the issues with fire safety and overcrowding. Today, I will ask you to first pause any eviction proceedings, to second, install fire mitigation measures in cooperation with the residents, and third, find land that can be used for a temporary caravan site in the case of a humanitarian emergency. Families could be moved with the caravans if evacuations are necessary until more permanent, adequate, and suitable accommodation is sorted. Residents are aware and have consistently over the years raised these concerns to the Council. The Council has assured us that every effort has been made to provide another site, but after years this has still not been achieved. When reading Brent Council's new EDI strategy for 2024 to 28 shares the Council's ambition for Brent to become a borough of all cultures, where all backgrounds are represented, celebrated, and most importantly, feel like we belong. We can see that other religions, cultures, nationalities are being accommodated. As Brent's only traveller site, we cannot help but feel a sense of disappointment when reading the report produced to provide the update on Lynton Close. To read that the options include closure order against the site as a whole does not make us feel like we belong or that our culture is respected. To also read words such as unwilling, disruptive, and demanding when describing interactions with residents is portraying such a negative narrative of my community. In retrospect, the difference here in the council interaction with residents being described as the best efforts and continue to make effort is continuing to feed the narrative of negativity when concerning Lynton Close. The report has stated in 5.20, and I quote, the pandemic lockdowns stalled engagement, but the Gypsy and Traveller site manager to continue to make efforts in liaison with residents. This could not be further from the truth. Residents have had no contact, and we actually thought she had left her position. The residents have felt when raising concerns that they are not being heard or that they are not validated and they're not being resolved, but instead we are being portrayed as being unwilling and demanding. We have pillars of the outside community, priests and school teachers coming forward with any offers to help with whatever they can do, as they are very aware of the negative effect displacement will have on all residents, but particularly the kids. Many of our kids have additional needs and SEND needs who have waited years for assessment and have the support plans put in place. We are finally at a stage where we are engaging kids in education. We are combating the literacy in travellers, which is actually very high. The council risks losing all the years of hard work with forced displacement. It takes time to build these relationships with the kids and the teachers. The kids are at a real risk of being removed from education as a whole if they are forced to move. Gypsy and traveller people are at the higher risk of suicide when you compare this to the general population, with rates being 6 times higher in women and 7 times higher in men. Unfortunately, the residents of Lynton Close have experienced these statistics in a very real way. Our community is still trying to process this while supporting one another, and how it has taken a toll on all our mental health. Forcing travellers into brick and mortar will have massive effect on the mental health of those involved. It's forcing a complete change in lifestyle, one that is in isolation. It is concerning when thinking of the residents of Lynton Close. We have had 3 generations living on the site. Some of them have come from living in a tent to be moved into caravans, and the fear of being forced into brick and mortar accommodation is causing undue anxiety. We feel that our community, our way of life, is trying to be phased out. We've come from such a strong sense of tradition. We learn from the elders. It's becoming increasingly hard to try and preserve our way of life. The residents have raised concerns of overcrowding and would like the council to understand and take on board that the fact that we are aware, but we are so worried about moving into brick and mortar that it's like a prison equivalent to us. It is not that we are unwilling to move, but we don't feel the council is understanding the true gravity of how moving into these type of accommodation will affect our community's mental well-being. Suicide is responsible for 11% of travellers' death, and we cannot take the chance of losing any more of our loved ones. We feel that communication with the council and residents have been broken down, and we could work together to make this improve. We'd like to revisit the Waking Watch being introduced. The report has implied that there was an in-depth engagement with the residents to discuss these concerns. The residents do not agree with this. There was a meeting last year where the Waking Watch was discussed. Residents raised concerns about having a stranger walking around our community and using cameras around our kids. Another meeting was supposed to be scheduled to address these concerns, and residents were assured anyone coming onto the site would be introduced before anything was implemented. None of this has happened. We were not made aware that there was a hole being made into our kids' play area to accommodate the Waking Watch, which is a Class A hazard under the Decent Homes Act. It would now be possible for outsiders to enter into the play area. It is concerning. We are advised to raise our children with stranger danger in mind, but now for strange people to be allowed onto our kids' play area whilst having cameras on is quite disturbing. We'd like to apologise and state we do not condone the incident that has taken place, and we have written a letter discussing this further. We understand that safety is a priority. However, we firmly believe that such actions could result in more harm than good for our community. As an ethnic minority, residing together is essential to our cultural identity and values. I kindly urge the Council to reconsider this course of action, to engage with our community to find a better solution that respects our cultural beliefs and ensures our safety without uprooting. Collaboration and understanding can lead to solutions that honour our heritage while addressing these safety concerns. Has been taken into account the list of needs that would currently need to be addressed if displacement took place. We have the elderly, we have the vulnerable, we have those with special needs that need to be considered. You haven't thought about how this disruption will cause so much stress to both the physical and mental well-being. All we are asking is to work with us, help us find a safe, legal and fair way to remain in our homes. Let's talk about what can be done with respect and not removal. To finish, I would ask first, please pause any eviction proceedings. Second, let's install fire mitigation measures in collaboration with the residents. Third, find land that can be used for a temporary caravan site in the case of a humanitarian emergencies. Families could be moved with their caravans into evacuations are necessary until a more permanent, adequate and suitable accommodation is sorted. I thank you for your time.
Elizabeth, honestly, thank you very much for that. And every point you made, right, absolutely will be considered. And I'm now going to move over to Councillor Fleur Donnelly Jackson. We are bringing that report forward, right? So that we can consider the report and the considerations just made by Elizabeth as well, right? Can I hand over to you, and then I'll open it up to cabinet members for any questions.
So just to be clear, I'm going to respond to your petition first, and then I will introduce the report, and then it will be cabinet questions. Okay. So firstly, thank you for your petition and for attending our cabinet meeting today. On behalf of the entire cabinet, I want to put on record that families who live on Lynton Close Traveller site are valued members of our community here in Brent. And I just want to make it clear that personally, I've listened very carefully to what you said and made notes on all of the things. And there are some things which you raised, which I have also personally raised. So the council under this new leadership team assembled here today are committed to creating a more sustainable future for travellers in the borough by improving Lynton Close and finding more sites in Brent to meet your needs. As you've highlighted in your petition, and as the council's report today also acknowledges, Lynton Close Travellers site is dangerously overcrowded. As things stand, our surveys show that there are as many as 74 mobile homes parked very closely together on a 31 pitch site. The report before Cabinet this morning shows that combined with other factors, this has caused an intolerable risk to life. We have a duty to act, and it would be a dereliction of our responsibilities if we were to allow the status quo to continue. The mobile homes that have been brought onto the site without permission are breaching licensing agreements. And just like all planning consents, the purpose of having these permissions is to ensure that everyone on the site remains safe. These additions have significantly increased the risk of fire and placed unmanageable pressure on the site's broader infrastructure. And having tried other options, including consultations in 2019 and 2020, and a warning notice in 2023, and the attempt to install a Waking Watch team last year, we've served notices which give residents who rent the pitches 28 days to address the fire risks. I must be completely honest with everyone, we have little choice but to take action if we're going to avoid a disaster. As a landlord, we have a legal and a moral duty to make this site safe and protect lives. I just want to be clear here that we're not serving eviction notices. These are legal notices requiring the pitch holder to resolve the breaches of licence within 28 days. We understand that moving these vehicles off will mean displacing some people, and we have a dedicated team on hand to support residents, including arranging temporary accommodation and helping them to join the waiting list for new pitches as they become available. And contact details have been included in the letters, and we stand ready to support. We know that there are extended families living in these additional mobile homes, and that what we are asking of these families is incredibly difficult. It is important to stress that they don't have an automatic right to accommodation in Lynton Close in the same way that adult children of an overcrowded social home do not have an automatic right to live in that home neither. So the situation is therefore not unique, and the same principles apply. The site has to be brought back within safe and legal occupancy levels. We recognise that residents would prefer, and that it's part of their way of life, to be provided with new sites and pitches, and we recognise that your community has a distinctive traditional lifestyle which absolutely deserves and will get fair and equal treatment. We're still in the process of searching for sites, and at this stage that's not immediately possible. Our first priority has to be the safety of the families at Lynton Close, and while we urgently seek available land, the council has secured the next best option: safe, secure, settled and affordable accommodation in borough, much of which is grouped and will allow larger families to remain in proximity to each other. We'll go into more detail in a community information meeting for Lynton Close residents, which is the right forum for that conversation. We're urgently working to find new and alternative sites that meets the needs of your community. We've appointed an external specialist agency with experience in finding sites for travellers to help us with our site search for alternative sites, because searches conducted in 2019 and 2024 to find potential decant sites, unfortunately, were not successful. Finally, thank you for your offer to discuss reinstating the Waking Watch. I read the letter that came in very carefully. Thank you for that. I can confirm that we agree to this in principle, and that officers will now work through the logistics and practicalities of bringing this back into place, and both officers and I are grateful for your agreement and cooperation.